The Pittsburgh Pirates are on the road to nowhere, and it makes sense. They're using the plans their architect, Ben Cherington, gave them. That's next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, and welcome to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan, and today we need to talk about some painful realities. It should sound familiar because that's all they've really given us recently, to stare us right in the face. Like, why has the offense been god-awful for just about every minute of Cherington's tenure here? We'll talk more about a big issue with the entire organization as it comes to recognizing talent they've been supervising for years, and finally, their inability to sense when they need to throw in the towel on a project or quit holding out hope for a vet. First, last night's game in St. Louis. Got to touch it, right? Paul Skeens pitched well. Matthew Liberatore pitched well. The Cardinals got one big hit with men on base, and it was the difference. Unfortunately, that truly sums it up. But what it doesn't sum up is why a team that went into the offseason trying to rebuild and sell off players still has a better team than the Pittsburgh Pirates, who were supposedly in time to win mode. We heard that over and over again. And here they are being beaten by a team that openly wanted to sell off. For real. The Cardinals wanted to trade Nolan Arenado and Sonny Gray. It's not super normal to have essentially billboards out trying to sell guys off, fail in the endeavor, and still have everyone come back together and act like they weren't hurt by it. This was unique, if only because both of these players made the call. They used their no trade clauses to ensure they didn't move into a situation they didn't like. In other words, they'd rather be on a team they know isn't trying to win a world championship that year, as opposed to go to another team that they fear might be a worse situation with the same result. So they held on very tightly to what teams they were open to going to and weren't open to going to, as is their right. I can't imagine a player choosing to stay in Pittsburgh if they have the opportunity. I really can't. Not in this kind of situation. They honestly would rather tread water in St. Louis than play somewhere they don't hold in high regard or think is a good opportunity for them. I have to be real, though. The Pirates, who were ready to win, it's time to win, everybody. We're led to believe if one second-year player and one trade acquisition weren't on the IL, they'd be competing. Come on. Would they even be as potent offensively as the Cardinals? Even if that did happen? Again, a team that was trying to step back in 2025. The offense has stunk during Cherington's entire tenure. In 2020, they had a 220 average and a 641 OPS. They peaked in 2023. You know, when they actually did bring in a couple helpful bats, at 239 and a 707 OPS. And right now, their numbers, of course, don't reflect a whole season, but they look a lot like 2020. We call that neutral, aka fireable. Why? Why is it so bad? They've had 3 different hitting coaches. You have to see some changes, right? Well, not if your overriding offensive philosophy comes from the GM. It's a tried and failed ethos that robs aggressiveness from hitters, fills their heads with data as opposed to instinct. Instead of developing hitters who can hit anyone, they develop hitters who can only succeed if and when the opposition does what they need them to do, be wild and throw a lot of fastballs. That's not a plan. That's a team that could only beat teams regularly if half the league was coached as poorly as they are. Believing they're right in the face of mountains of evidence they aren't is probably the best way I can boil down everything we've watched play out here in 5 seasons and into the 6th. It's frustrating to watch. It's maddening at times. You can always go back and blame Ben Cherington's boss. Of course, Bob Nutting is responsible. But Ben Cherington had avenues in which he could have done things a lot differently and a lot better. My only defense for why it's more about Cherington than it is Bob. Well, I've already kind of told you, I don't think this team can really spend as much more as we fans would love to believe. I think they do probably top out somewhere around where Milwaukee is. And I think it would be more of a stretch for Pittsburgh, if only because they don't have the infrastructure built up to support said payroll the way the Milwaukee Brewers have wisely done. Not to mention all the other things that Milwaukee does better. Not that they're paying dividends this year, but over years, they've been better and they will get better again. They've got a lot of young players legitimately, unlike the Pirates who claim they're young and are trotting out 30-year-olds for 5 of their 6 or 5 of their 9 starting spots most days. I think overall, Ben Cherington and his analytics team need to take a step back from the offense, all in all. And it might be too late for some guys that have lived and breathed this system for a long time. You get into guys' heads enough with how patient they need to be at all times, how important it is to not swing at certain pitches, wait for this fastball here, wait for this, that, there. You fill them with all this stuff, and then you expect them to just change on a dime because you change your mind. Well, they're not gonna. Worse than that, Ben Cherington hasn't changed his mind. He just brought in a different figurehead to administer what he does. Is Matt Haig telling the guys different things or how to do things differently than Andy Haynes did? Sure he is. Is he adjusting little things here and there? Sure he is. I'm positive he is. But at the same time, this team has not stopped believing in what they were doing. They thought they were doing fine. They just didn't think it was being administered right. That's got to be the problem. The hitting coach wasn't getting the message through to the players. That's why they weren't succeeding. So we'll bring in a new one who can tell the story a little bit better. That's like replacing your general when you've lost because you're giving him BB guns. You know, like you've lost because you're giving your team BB guns, and then you're not taking them out to target practice, and you're wondering why they can't hit anything. Ben Cherington is the architect of this disaster. Next up, we're going to talk about recognizing talent, or I guess in this case, not. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love them when I'm on the golf course. They really help me get through 18. I wish they'd help my score a little more, but I certainly feel like I have a little more energy by the time I get done, which is always a good thing. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe. Keep telling friends about it. I mean, the team may not be fun, but I'm going to try as hard as I can to keep the show fun. I won't live in Poopy Town forever. Even if they keep losing, I'll eventually turn the page to how they can fix things and make it better on a larger scale than just right now. It's too early in the season to flip that switch, though. So we got to kind of keep the pedal down on, at least right now, what they could do. But I just want to talk about a few examples here of what I mean when I talk about not being able to recognize talent. These won't be the only examples out there. You'll probably have 5 or 6 in your head. But there are a few that I think really illustrate some of the little things this team just doesn't recognize. I'm not saying any of the guys I'm going to talk about are good or great or going to be great or would have been great. It's not what I'm trying to say. I just want to show that the team refuses to see what guys do well and utilize that skill set, even on the way to trying to find out if they could be more or less than what you thought in the first place. So let's talk about like Liever Peguero. Okay. He finally got his first game yesterday after being called up last Friday. Got a hit. When Liever Peguero gets on base, he claps his hands together. He's an excitable kid. He's one of the better personalities in that room in spring training, according to just about everybody that covers the team in the locker room. I obviously don't get to do that, but I've talked to him multiple times. He has the ability to kind of be a light up the room type player. I don't know if ultimately he's got the skills to become major league regular. I don't. I see the defensive shortcomings at shortstop, but I also see a kid that does make most of the plays. He has the talent to make all of the plays. And I see a kid that is genuinely exciting when he gets to the plate. It doesn't mean that he does super well, but he's shown a little bit of pop here in the majors. He's shown speed. He's shown energy. And he's shown a little bit more ability to get the bat on the ball with a little bit more authority than a lot of what I see playing all the time. In fact, he hit 2 balls hard yesterday. I haven't seen Adam Frazier hit balls that hard more than a couple times this entire season. Doesn't mean that I think Liever Peguero is a better player than Adam Frazier, but it certainly is a guy they have control of a heck of a lot longer than they have Adam Frazier. It should be a pretty good bet that he should be better. He's far younger. They don't seem to recognize these things about Liever Peguero because when he comes up, this is 2 years in a row now, they just refuse to give him opportunities. Just refuse. Like he's got leprosy or something. This is a kid that may or may not pan out again, but look at your team. You've lost 6 games in a row. You've lost 9 of 10. You're out of any discussion for anything good you think that was coming this year. If you're not playing Liever Peguero right now over somebody like like Adam Frazier, or dare I say even like IKF, what are you doing? This is your last year to find out on him. He's gone after this. He'll be able to be a minor league free agent after this if you don't do something with him. You don't have any more options. You're going to have to DFA him to make room. You can't throw him in the minors anymore. He's a major leaguer or he's not after this year. That's the way it works. I can't fathom not wanting to know for sure. It's the first trade Ben Cherington ever made. Starling Marte for Liever Peguero and Brennan Malone. Brennan Malone had pitched all of like 7 innings in low A Liover Peguero was a very, very young kid. Both lottery tickets. Both decent talents, at least as far as Baseball America and everybody else was concerned. And here we are, 5 years later. Brennan Malone is an afterthought that can't stay on the field. Nobody's fault, really. Big talent still, just can't stay on the field. Liover Peguero, well, he's only been at AAA for like 3 years and on the 40-man for 4. Yeah, I mean, you have to have a definitive answer on a kid like that at this point, and it doesn't seem like they want one up here. And when they've given him extended looks, he's looked okay. I want to see more, and I don't see what you're pushing him back with. I would have preferred to see him over Alika Williams, all the opportunities Alika Williams got. I would have preferred him over seeing Jared Triolo get as many opportunities as he's gotten. Gold Glove aside, Liover Peguero is a guy I got to see more of. How the hell are you evaluating talent when you won't look at it? How about Matt Gorski? Matt Gorski was really, really good in 2022. Looked like he could really be something. 2021, he looked great. And he fell off the table. This year, he kind of comes back offensively, looks good. But you know what Matt Gorski has been throughout his entire minor league career? A stellar defender, especially in the outfield. I could tell you right now, Matt Gorski, this second, is the best outfielder on the Pittsburgh Pirates major league team defensively. And where have the Pirates not used him once? You guessed it, the outfield. Where do they not plan on using him at all? You guessed it again, the outfield. Can he play first base? Yes. It's his second position. It's not his best position. But he's good at it. I think there's potential there for him to get real good at it. Does the bat ever come along enough to make it matter? I don't know. But why would you call a kid up here? No, he's your best defender in the outfield. And not factor him in on, hey, maybe this guy can play for Tommy Pham out there in left field. He can certainly handle left field really well. I'm talking good arm, exceptional range, knows exactly what he's doing out there. The best outfielder they have. I'm not alone in this thought. There's minor league evaluators. Anthony Murphy that runs Bucks on Deck agrees with me. Matt Gorski is right now Pirates' best outfielder. Why are we not using him? If only for defense. Is Tommy Pham really that good? I know his defensive run saves are up there, but come on now. Matt Gorski is younger. You have control of him for years and years. He's got more power than Tommy Pham could dream of having. And he's more of a threat at the plate. Don't get me wrong. Again, this guy could fail. He could fall on his face. How about Henry Davis? Henry Davis sits around. Listen, if you watched baseball as much as I do, you notice some things. And one of the things that I never used to notice before I started doing what I do was catching. I never really understood. What do you mean he's a bad catcher? Ball hits his glove, he catches it. Come on. Everybody can do that. And over the years, I've learned there's a lot more to it. And, you start to look for things. And then there's the whole how well does he block pitches and how does he call a game and all that stuff. Henry Davis is way superior to Joey Bart in those categories. Does not mean that I want Joey Bart to sit. But it does mean I don't want my 1-1 catcher sitting all the time where I'm in this purgatory of like, his bat sucks. Well, how the hell do you know? You have to play the kid to know. You've got to play him more than like once or twice a week if you ever want to find out what's there. Because here's what's happening. You're going to wait for Joey Bart to get injured, as he inevitably will, because he gets injured just about every year. Look at his career track. And then you're going to be sitting there with Henry, and all of a sudden he's the whole job. He prepares very well. The pitchers love throwing to him. He's a great receiver of the ball. He's become a wonderful framer. He's great at blocking. No matter what you want to say about Henry Davis, bad pick, good pick, doesn't matter. Good hitter, bad hitter, doesn't matter. Great defensive player. You're not using the skill sets you're developing. Carmen Majinski, we know, good reliever. We know one time through the order he's going to kill it. Refuse to use him. How about one more? I'll go in the Wayback Machine for you. How about Jose Ozuna? You remember him? Again, this guy's done. Okay? He's off playing a career or whatever. It's not like he ever made it in the majors. It's not like I think he ever would. Again, that's not the point. But the point is he came in here with Jose Ozuna. In 2019, he hit 264 with 10 homers in 261 at-bats. Now, that should excite you if you're a guy like that. Coming in, you've got a young player. There's an opportunity here because the roster's empty. Kid can play third base, outfield, first base. Not great at any of them. But 10 home runs and 261 at-bats, I want to see more. Cherington comes to town, has one of the worst offenses in major leagues, and gives this kid 78 at-bats total. Like he was completely disinteresting. Which he wasn't interesting by the time the Pirates were done farting with him. We have to talk about the other side of not recognizing talent, and that's knowing when it's all dried up. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button for me. And if you listen to the show instead of watch it on video, we're everywhere that you could possibly get podcasts. Some of them allow you to rate the show. Some of them allow you to leave a comment there. Some of you can even put reviews in those different apps. Spotify is one. Apple Podcasts is one. If you're on those help the show tremendously. People are always asking how they can help the show. You can help the show that way. Take advantage of all the rating systems that people put out there. Thank you very much for watching. Finally, today, I really want to talk about another thing this team does that drives fans nuts, and that's holding on to veteran players who simply don't have it anymore, if they ever did. Tommy Pham is the latest in this lineage, right? And we're only a month in. I guess if my team was completely built from top to bottom, and I felt real strong about it. And you brought in a Tommy Pham to ride the pine and come out and play a little bit of spot defense here and there, and get a start here and there just to give your stars a rest. If he was on the Atlanta Braves and he was like their sixth outfielder, he'd make a lot of sense. The Pirates, unfortunately, bring guys like this in to start. They don't bring them in as backup. So they're exposed immediately for being a lot less than what they were sold as to begin with. This happens all the time. Tommy Pham, Rowdy Tellez, Yoshi Tsugo. A lot of you remember. And this team will do anything in their power to exhaust all avenues to make sure they've tried as hard as they could with the player. It's the polar opposite of what I just talked about with young kids that might actually matter. You see where I'm going with this? Think about the lack of effort this team put into Liover Peguero and whether he would work out or not, versus the amount of effort they put into Rowdy Tellez to make sure they saw every possible thing they could before pulling the trigger. Right? And then to make things worse, they were rewarded for it last year because Rowdy Tellez actually did warm up at some point. You know, they're thinking the same thing with Tommy Pham. The problem is both Rowdy Tellez and Tommy Pham hadn't done anything in a while in the league. There's no evidence that what you're hoping is in there is in there. I'm confused about Tommy Pham for a lot of reasons. I didn't like the signing. I don't think his top end helps, even if he's as good as he possibly could be. I don't think it's good enough to have him start. Period. So I hated the signing from the jump. What I hate worse is being proven right in the first month and knowing, because I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, I'm going to watch it for another month. I mean, they are starting to sit him a little bit more here and there. But again, you've got a guy like Matt Gorski sitting here, a superior fielder, if nothing else. And if by some miracle of God his bat were to start doing something, you have team control of him for 5 or 6 years. And oh, by the way, he's also not a year from retirement. What is the upside for seeing what you can get out of Tommy Pham? Is it a trade? No. Nobody's going to give you crap for Tommy Pham. Nobody. Nobody was going to give you crap for Rowdy Tellez the way he was playing last year. Nobody was going to give you crap for Yoshi Tsugo the year before that. The veterans that they could actually get something for in a trade, they tend to not execute. They held on to Aroldis Chapman all year last year like somehow they were going to the playoffs. It would have been a perfect opportunity to trade him last year. You might have actually gotten a good player. There's no instinct with this general manager. There's no eye for talent. There's no will to try to get the talent on the field in a way that it could possibly succeed, especially if it's young. Unless you happen to be one of their favorite children. You're Jack Sawinski, well, you're getting 1,000 at bats in this league. Right? Now, he's shown a lot of power too, right? I wonder what Liover Peguero would do if he would get a full season like Jack Sawinski. Do you think he could turn those 7 home runs into 15? I might not be all that surprised if he was able to do that. I hate doing things like this because it sounds like I'm arguing for scrubs, okay? I don't think that any of these players turn into Mike Trout. Please don't think that's where I'm going with it. It's more about just lacking the overall curiosity that it takes to find out. The entire thing has been built by the architect, Ben Cherington. He's had restrictions, but he knew he had those restrictions when he got here. They've been part of the plan all along. He's failed to put together something that works. He's failed to admit mistakes, including the manager that he chose. This team continues to run the same thing back out there over and over and over again. From management team on down, expecting different results, as though words are enough to actually turn your season around, as though saying it's time to win suddenly means that the whole team flips a switch and they start winning. It's been a sad time to be a Pirates fan. It really has. I'm hoping that they're able to maybe wake up this afternoon and win one. If for nothing else, the turnaround has to start somewhere. And it starts with one win. Unfortunately, they've squandered yet another Paul Skeens start. I feel like that's something we're going to talk about a lot as this season goes on. That's all I got for you today. But I'd love to thank you for joining me again, and thank you for making Locked On Pirates your first listen today. Your second listen, please do go check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. It's a lot of fun. It shows some of my after show game clips that I put up. You'll see those on MLB Game Night, along with all the other hosts. Really good analysis of the game. It's like, it reminds me of old school Sports Center from back in the day when you would just sit there and just watch baseball highlights and listen to, all the analysis of what's going on around the league. It's a quick snapshot, half hour of everything that's going on in the baseball world. So check it out. It's really good stuff. And let's go Bucks.